Y'all, they say first impressions mean everything. So I'm going to give you my first impressions on this freshman class that they deem to be the best that we have ever seen. So my man Hank is going to hop on the screen. He's going to read off a name of one player in the freshman class, and I'm going to let you know what my first impression was of him. Hank, are you ready? Hank the Tank, are you ready?
I am ready, and we're starting with the only place to start right here. Darryn Peterson, guard, Kansas. Take it away.
Elite, absolutely elite. When you watch Darryn Peterson play the game of basketball, it just looks so smooth. He has one of those jumpers in which every single time he shoots the ball, because his elbow is so straight, because his rotation is beautiful, you think it's going in. The stroke looks absolutely effortless. It honestly, at this point, is Darryn Peterson and friends. I really think that I hate to say this, but I really think that they didn't do a good job in the transfer portal. I really do not. I think that they are literally relying solely on Darryn Peterson, and then everything else, whatever else they can get from everybody else, is just it's great. But I really don't think they did a good job in the transfer portal again. And I love Bill Self. I think he's a legend. I think he's great at what he does, one of the best, if not the best. But I don't think they hit again. I think that when Darryn Peterson went out that ball game, specifically against North Carolina, they looked lost. They did not look good at all. Darryn Peterson, my first impression was he was absolutely elite, as good as advertised.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like Derrick Rose, D Wade, like people are they're putting some high praise on Darryn Peterson. You think he can live up to that?
No, no, listen. Derrick Rose and D Wade is crazy. That man plays nothing like Derrick Rose and D Wade. We need to add whoever said that to the Who's Tripping segment, because they are definitely tripping. Unless you said that, Hank, and then you tried to blame it on other people.
It was someone else for sure. I saw it somewhere.
All
All
right,
right,
let's go.
next
Give
one
me
up.
somebody else.
We got the man who beat Darryn Peterson just this week. It's Caleb Wilson from UNC. What's your first
Whew.
impression?
Absolute dog, man. He's a menace. He is somebody in which I had never seen. I heard his name a few times, but until I really watched the game against, honestly, it was the game against BYU in the exhibition. I was like, man, who is this 6'9" athletic freak that can move, that can switch 1 through 4, 1 through 5, who is playing above the rim, who can get to his mid-range pull-up whenever he wants to, and it just looks effortless. I mean, the turnaround fade he had against KU was impressive. I mean, defensively, he got in the passing lanes. When he dunked the ball, he was levitating. I was extremely impressed, and no doubt, I think that he can turn into a guy who is really successful. He gets ball handling right, but I think when he does that, he can turn into a guy who is going to be really successful in the league. I mean, all-star type of caliber player. But my first impression was he's an absolute dog.
Yeah, and you've seen it come into vogue lately in the NBA. Modeled
Mhm.
after the Pacers last year, picking up 90 feet, and Caleb Wilson at the end of that game, just like
He can do that.
dogging Kansas up and down the court.
He can absolutely do that. Who you got next for me?
AJ Dybantsa, tell me about him.
You know, my first impression was made a long time ago, because he, out of all everybody in this class, I think he was the guy in which had the most hype coming into the season. So I had been paying attention to this young man for the longest. His high school highlights was ridiculous. When I saw him do certain things, do like specifically, he hit like a windmill baseline reverse dunk. Hank, it was one of the nastiest things I've ever seen in my life. When he did that, I said, oh my goodness, this dude right here is special. But what I've seen from him so far is versatility. And I think that's what I like the most, because when you look at this BYU team, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. They do not have a real playmaker. Rob Wright is a point guard that loves to score. He is not a facilitating point guard. He is a score first point guard. So a lot of times, I think Richie Saunders, one way that Kevin Young is going to have to get Richie Saunders shots is by playing through AJ Dybantsa, because AJ Dybantsa has the capabilities to be able to create and to be able to facilitate and create opportunities for his teammates, such as Richie Saunders, who can't necessarily get his own shot off all the time. Sometimes he can drive closeouts, but he's not really an on-ball creator. So because he's not an on-ball creator, AJ Dybantsa can get shots for him. So I think that when I talk about AJ Dybantsa, the first impression of him was versatility, versatile.
I think that's well said. And I think yeah, the first impression of AJ, like you said, was made a long time ago, but it's exciting to see
Hmm.
how he'll be used this year, how he can
For
surprise us
sure.
in new ways. All right, we got
Can't wait. Can't wait.
from Duke, Cameron Boozer. What you think?
I think this is where I'm going to take some heat because I think Cameron Boozer is a really good player. I think that's my first impression, a really good player. However, would I take him as my number one pick? I don't think so. I don't think his ceiling is as high as some of the other people that we see in this draft class. I mean, I think he's a safe pick. I think you know what you're going to get. But then my question to people who say that, right, is what am I going to get on the next level? Because he's not a four. He can't play the four. I don't think he has the wiggle like a Paolo Banchero to be able to take you on a perimeter, break you down. Doesn't have the handle to really be able to do that, or at least I haven't seen it yet. And he can't play the five because he's not big enough to play the five. So my question is, what is he on the next level? What is he when he gets to the NBA? I think he's very productive. And I think in college, he'll have one of the best seasons we've ever seen in Duke history. But my question is, what is he at the next level? What is he in the NBA? And I'm still trying to figure that out. So, like, if I have a Darryn Peterson or AJ Dybantsa, no doubt in my mind that those two guys have a higher ceiling than a Cam Boozer. Even a guy like Caleb Wilson or Nate Ament probably has a higher ceiling than a Cam Boozer. I just don't know what he really is. So my first impression of him, really good basketball player, but I still have questions.
I like it. I like it. All right, next up, Tounde Yessoufou.
Oh, we talking about some baby AE. My first impression of him was like, man, everybody calls you and they compare you to Anthony Edwards. I see it. Is he as effective or as good as Anthony Edwards was at this point? I don't think so. However, when you talk about the body, we talk about the actual look of the physicals, we talk about the jumper. I think that those things are there, and I see why people say that. His game is not like Anthony Edwards. He's not as skilled as Anthony Edwards is. However, that's not a knock to him because that doesn't mean he cannot be effective, and it doesn't mean that he can't have success in the NBA. Because I was impressed. I did their home opener. I was very impressed with he missed his first six shots, but still ended up with 25, 26 points. Like that right there is a confident young man who at times is going to have to take over the game, but he doesn't have to take over the game by his on-ball creation or his on-ball presence. He takes over the game by doing the little things, by cutting back door, by getting steals, getting out in transition, running the floor, playing hard, letting his defense turn to offense. That's how Tounde Yessoufou makes an impact, crashing the offensive glass. He makes an impact in a myriad of ways that isn't necessarily the same as some of the other guards we've seen in Baylor. When you talk about Keontae George, we talk about BJ Edgecombe, we talk about some of these other high-level guards that we've seen come through the program. I don't think that his impact looks the same, but I do think that scouts will find value in what he does, which will lead him to probably being a lottery pick. So my first impression of Tounde Yessoufou is I like it.
All right, if you like it, I like it. I'm not questioning you on the Baylor guy ever. Let's go. Let's go. Koa Peat from Arizona. What you think?
Oh, Koa Peat arguably put up one of the best performances that a freshman can put up. I- And I think the thing I like the most about it was that it's not like he put this up against a bunch of scrubs, against a random low major division 1 team who you're like, bro, I expect you to do this. He came out with a bang against Florida. And not only did he do it against one of the best front courts in the country, he led his team to a victory. I mean, that right there is about that right there is about as impressive as it comes. Imagine on your debut, you're like, hey, we're about to go play the reigning national champions, the number 2 Florida Gators. And I'm about to go out here and dominate as a freshman, as an 18, 19-year-old. And I'm going to not only dominate, but I'm going to lead my team to a victory. Oh, you're really him. You were really him, Koa Pete. So that was my first impression, all right? You are him.
We got Michael Brown Jr.
All right, Mikel Brown Jr. So my first impression was this past summer when he played for Team USA, the hype that he got because he was the best player on the floor and he had some dudes on his team, but he was the best player on that team. He took over a bunch of games. So me watching that, my first impression was like, hey, I'm impressed, but I want to see you do it on a college level. So then let's backtrack, right? When Louisville played against Kansas, I was expecting this young man to be as good as advertised of what I saw, but be a better version of what I saw in the summer because now you're on a collegiate level. It wasn't that. It was not that. Now, granted, everybody's allowed to have bad games, especially a freshman who is stepping into a different role. Koa Peat is a big, so he has guards like Jaden Bradley around him to set him up, make him look good. Mikel Brown, the ball is in your hands. Pat Kelsey is giving you the rock from day one. So you at that point guard spot. Not everybody can be like Darryn Peterson and just make it look effortless. Now there will be some bumps and some bruises from Mikel Brown. But nonetheless, Pat Kelsey is giving you the keys. So now it's your time to shine. You have to go shine. You have to do what you do and do what you did this past summer and do what you've done your whole high school career. So I do think that he will be a really good player. He is an NBA talent. I don't think he showed it against Kansas. However, he has another opportunity to go play against Kentucky this week, and all eyeballs will be on you, Mikel Brown. How do you respond? How do you handle that? It's your time to shine, young fella.
We got to get this clip in front of him. We got to get him. He needs to see this before his next game. Next up, we got Ament. Now, this is a dude I have been aware of for a while, but I got to be honest, I expected more. My first impression was lacking. You told me, though, to calm down. We talked about this earlier. What do you got to say about Ament?
Yeah, so Ament to me, my first impression is the word project. He is far from who he will become. His game isn't as mature as it needs to be. And you can tell because his decision making at times when it came to shot selection. When you watch his shot selection, you're like, ooh, that's a tough one. You ain't see my man on the wing? You can't swing that one more? Ooh. Okay. All right, young fella, right? The turnaround fadeaways are impressive. The ball handling at is impressive. I do think he can become a dude in which we see in the NBA have a all-star level career, maybe even better than that. But right now, he is a project. If you draft him, you're taking him based off of potential. He's good. Don't get it twisted. He's going to have good games, but he's not at the level in which he can take over a game. Maybe one every now and then, but Darryn Peterson is going to take over plenty of games in his college career. AJ Dybantsa will take over plenty of games in his college career. I don't think we'll say the same thing about Nate Ament because he's more of a project. He's a long-term person in which you will have success with. He is not a right now type of guy. Right now, he can do good things. He's long, he's athletic, he can play defense, he's versatile. But offensively, he is a project. So don't focus on the right now. Focus on the long term and what he can become. So that's my first impression of Nate Ament is project.
I like it. Way to lay it out. Next up, we got. I saw the Greek Luca online. I don't know.
Ooh, the Greek Luca.
Neo Avdalas, I want to say, from Virginia Tech.
The Greek Luca. Neoklis Neo Avdalas.
Yeah, I think you nailed that.
You think so? That was good.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm sure we'll
look
learn
at
it in time. By the end of this season, we'll have it down for sure. If
Listen,
he keeps playing like he did,
honestly, yeah.
yeah.
He plays the way he did the other day. Goodness gracious. This dude is good. He can hoop. We say the Greek Luca. He was literally out there hooping like Luca. Sidestep, step back, and all. The pace that he plays with. I mean, the precision on some of his angles. I loved everything about young Neo. Not the artist, not the R&B artist, but he's smooth like him, right? Neo is elite. And if you have not seen Virginia Tech, because I feel like a lot of people just don't turn on the TV and be like, ooh, Virginia Tech, let me go watch them. But if you do and you find yourself watching a Virginia Tech game, I promise you won't be disappointed. This young man is absolutely phenomenal. absolutely phenomenal, and he is must see TV. He is going to tear up the ACC, and I think that he will work his way up into the first round with what I just saw. He is absolutely impressive.
Yeah, so co-ACC Player of the Week with Caleb Wilson, who we talked about earlier. He thought about going pro or declaring for the draft. You could take a drink if you want to take a drink. You
Man,
go
we don't
for
do
it.
free promos over here, man.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I like it. I like it.
Now I'm just playing. This is good.
Neo considered going pro in the draft last year. Apparently, he didn't get first round interest.
Mhm.
He wound up back at Virginia Tech. His agent is also Giannis's agent. So the pieces are there for that guy to shoot up draft boards when it comes to draft time next year. So as a fan of a
100%.
very bad NBA team, I will be watching closely, which I did
Wait,
not think I
who's
would
your
say.
who's your team?
The Washington Wizards.
You're a Washington Wizards fan?
Yes, sir. I grew up in Maryland, like right outside DC. So I come by it
Whew.
honestly. I would not choose that if it weren't for that reason.
Whew.
You want to move
Listen,
on?
at least we know you're loyal.
I
Let,
am.
let, let, let's let, let's
That's
go
true.
to the next.
All right, last
Let's
one we
go
got
to
the two
the
boys from Arkansas, Darius Acuff Jr. and Meleek Thomas. What you think?
man. Look, this backcourt at Arkansas, Coach Cal Powery has done it again. Coach Cal strikes again. He hits 2 for 2. Two freshmen who can go play with the best of them and who will also be a force to be reckoned with in the SEC. And when I watch these guys, it almost looks like there's no way that they're freshmen. They go out there and hoop, and they're about as confident as they come. That's the one thing I see in this freshman class is confidence. And maybe it stems from the fact that they have so many social media followers, and their whole life they just kill people on camera because that's what they do. They just go their dogs on camera. They get buckets at a high level, and it's showcased all over social media all the time. So maybe you have no choice but to really feel like you're him. But a lot of these freshmen really step on the floor and think that they are the best player on the court and then go out and prove it, which is why I'm talking about Acuff and Thomas, because I think that they fit into that category as well. They step on any basketball court and you can't tell that they are freshmen. You cannot tell that these two guys just arrived on campus about 5 months ago, because the way that they play, the aggression in which they both play with, the pace in which they come off ball screens or they have in the isolation game, to me is absolutely elite. And if you haven't watched these dudes, you haven't watched the Razorbacks, I promise you won't miss that must see TV. They have teammates who even slap people with towels, who we'll talk about later on in the show, but they are must see TV. Meleek Thomas, Darius Acuff Jr. They're good. They are really good. Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? Oh my goodness, Hank. I'm up here tripping, man. Is that it for what you have for me?
That's all I got for you. Take us out.
All right. That's my first impressions of these freshman class. All right. Until next time, your boy is out.